Michelle Graves, your host on The Power of Money, and I'm honored to have you as a part of my world in this coming segment. With The Power of Money, as you know, we are interested in three things. First, that you get the necessary education so that you and your family will have the information to do well in these difficult times. The second thing I'm interested in is for you to be empowered to prosper. I want only the best for you, but you can't get that if you don't have the education and then the drive to make it happen. And the final thing, and perhaps the most important thing, is that you be energized. Because life is more than a journey. Life is about living. And so I want you to learn these things and to be empowered and encouraged and energized. I'm Michelle Graves. Now here we go.
And Happy New Year, and here we go on today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, affectionately known for 40 years now. Yeah, I'm getting to be a little bit old as the money lady throughout the United States and internationally. And it's always been my honor and privilege to have on extraordinary guests to talk about issues that are near and dear to me. Many of them have a financial impact because most things do. But today is a specifically special day. I have as my guest today Sandra Jones-Mitchell, who is CEO of SOACT, headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio. And she brings 30 years of passion and commitment to the needs and concerns of senior citizens, which 30 years ago nobody was talking about, only a handful of us, but it is now front and center today. Why? Because people are aging, because the baby boomers, of which I'm a part of that generation, are stepping to the table and getting older and dealing with all kinds of things. So she is my guest. I've had her on previously. If you'd like to go to YouTube and look at a previous interview I had with her on Zoom, but I have her in the studio and I'm just going to front and center the next hour, get comfortable, get a pen and pad, take notes, and we'll see where this is going. But the topic today is about aging well, and that's very, very important, as so many of us find ourselves in our 60s and older, in my case 71, yes, and still here and still excited about life. And again, I'm going to shut up and talk to her, and you all just enjoy the show. Well, hello there.
Hello, Michelle.
How do you look just fabulous?
I feel good. This is a wonderful day. The sun is shining, and I love it.
I know, you always have such a positive mindset. That's what I like about
you. You know what? I've had to train myself, and as you get older, you have to decide how you want to age, how do you want to live, where are you going with it, because each day is a gift.
It
and
is.
As you get older, you want to appreciate that. So Thank you for this opportunity.
Well, let's talk about you, and let's talk about who you are and how you got into the business of seniors and aging.
Well, you know what? It's just been a phenomenal ride. When I think about my first journey at age 14, my first job was Meals on Wheels, preparing hot meals for seniors, and never knew that God was setting me up for this assignment.
Wow,
didn't know.
Was he?
I'll be 62 years old, so I'm on there. I'm on that journey.
Yeah.
But I would say that I am the type of person that I listen well, I care about others, and really, really just want to embrace life. So being age 14, surrounded by the elders, surrounded, we were taking hot food to different senior locations throughout the city.
Oh, yes.
At that time, the city of Cincinnati funded all the meals, and so therefore we were cooking the meals, taking it to them. And I'll never forget that experience. That experience taught me a couple things: how to be passionate, caring, and patient. I tell you, those P's, I tell you, they are very important. So as I continue the journey on with my life, working at the VA, working with those elders, and as I got older, I just kept saying, there's something else to this. So I started out in a nursing home working as an activity coordinator.
Okay.
And at that time, I was just so excited to be a part of the activities. Then bingo, I got kind of frustrated with calling numbers. I started dreaming about bingo numbers, and I got to work one day and I asked my supervisor, I said, could we do something else? He said, like what?
Bingo.
I'm like, community stuff. Could we bring in community members of our neighborhoods, the bands, the churches? And I just started calling people and asking them if they wanted to be a part of this really cool activities. And my supervisor said, okay, now what? So we had a fashion show. We went to River Downs. I still have that picture today. And I looked like a kid on that picture, but I was so young. I was like 23 years old.
You were young.
I was young, but we down there at River Downs, our horse won, and we just had a great time.
Yes.
And I can remember asking him if we could have a cookout. He said, okay, now you just going a little too far. But what I did, I called the community in, and I asked them to sponsor different things. And it just became exciting. But then I got a personal relationship with some of the seniors.
Yes,
I'll never forget Miss
changes
Jessie.
everything. Yeah.
Miss Jessie had a cat that she entered into this contest, and I'm thinking, a cat? And so when you're young, you don't really understand the passion that other people have. But she was so passionate about this cat, and I remember taking her and this cat to a contest, and I was like, well, what the cat gonna do? I didn't know. And to this day, it just still, and I have a great picture of her. I have tons of pictures. I took plenty of pictures of these seniors, and I just enjoyed being in there. And I can remember my supervisor calling me in the office one day. He said, you spend a little too much time in their rooms. I'm like, well, it was only for those folks that couldn't come out to the activities. And so therefore, I needed to go there. I needed to know that they were part of something. And so we started getting radios and start reading the paper on daily news, and it became a little costly. I'm not going to kid you, because the budget at the time was only $200. But what he did know, that the connection with the community would sustain all of that. And so that was that story. And as I got older, I went back to school and got my bachelor's in gerontology, and would love to go back and get my master's and PhD as I get older. But it really taught me that that transition to old age matters. And you must be intentional about it.
Yes.
How do you want to live at 20, at 30, 40, 50, 60, even 80?
Yes.
90? What are your expectations? You want to know that you got some things in place that would allow you to age. So serving older adults through changing times was started in 1993.
1993.
You know what?
Wow.
I found papers as far back as 1989 that Sandra, the young lady that I started SOAC with, her name was Sandra as well, and we were mapping out how we were going to be nonprofit, what we were going to do, if we wanted to be a LLC, a corporation, what do we want?
Yes.
But when you're young and you're trying to get into the business world, you really pretty much have to do your homework. And so Sandra was very good at writing, and so my strength was talking, hers was the writing. And I just know she would be thrilled today. She died 2 years later in 1995.
Oh,
and,
my word.
And I can just remember the last time I saw her live, and she said, if you're going to do SOAC, you need to get out of here and go do it. And I had the fear of you know what in me. I had no idea what to do, how to do this business. And she said, you need to go do it. And I'm like, but I need you. She's like, I'm dying. I'm like, you dying? You can't die. She said, you can't die. She died the next day.
Oh.
She died literally
the next day
of my visiting with her. And I can tell you I was fearful.
Oh, but that is scary.
It was scary. You're young, you started a business, you have no idea what you're doing, who to talk to.
And back then, there weren't the resources or the support system.
It wasn't there.
Particularly for African American women.
It was not there.
Nada. Woo.
And so, you know, through this journey, making sure that I am intentional about the business, serving older adults through changing times. Times are changing. And when we came up with that name, I had no idea that we would go through the changes that we've gone through.
Ooh-wee.
Seniors are hungry, they are homeless, they are premature put in nursing homes, and families are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. The institutions are not conducive to aging well.
At all.
And so I really had to do some searching and say, okay, Father, what is it? And so I was working a job too, so I had a job now. I was working with individuals with developmental disability with Hamilton County DDS, and I can tell you from that experience, getting off at 2:30, going to do SOAC at 4, I wouldn't leave SOAC until 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my gosh.
And I can remember this person knocking on my window and said, "You need to go home." I'm like, "But they need me. It's 9:30 and she needs me." And he said, "And she'll be okay tomorrow."
Yes.
But I just knew that I had more to do.
Oh my gosh.
And I wanted to do it. And I still want to do it. So I love talking about SOAC. It's an international issue because there's aging people all over the world. All over the world, people are aging. And unfortunately, we are not prepared. Medicaid, Medicare it's a system that...
It's a hot mess.
Okay.
So I can say it.
You can say that because that's your area.
It's Sandra.
And I feel bad for those seniors when they don't understand plans. And
I feel so bad.
We have to do better.
Well, it's going to be mandated that we do better. I was just reading the data. There are now over almost 66 million people now on Medicare, which is the health plan. And then they're trillions of dollars being allocated. I don't even know where or how. Then you've got the Medicaid, which has exploded, which is help for those who are low income.
Yes.
And the whole system is teetering. And then with inflation and the economy, and I talked about this, talked about it before it hit. I said, it's coming. Are we prepared? The answer is no.
It's no.
No. And what do we go? I said, are you prepared when you watch bread go through the roof? And I mean, when I saw oxtails for a package for $78, I said, well, better get yourself a cow because you can't afford this journey. You can't afford it. But we're there.
Can you imagine you're on a fixed income? The average senior, if they're in a low area with their funding, they're only getting $30, $40 a month in stamps. And so we need to figure this out. We got to figure this out. So we have 5 goals that we're going to focus on for 2023. One is aging in place. How do you make it feasible enough, economic enough, and modify my home so I can age in place and die there if I want to.
Right.
So that means assessing the house, making sure that it's safe, first of all, so I won't fall. So fall prevention is huge.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes.
Because the average senior will fall at least once in their lifetime. And if they are prone to any illness, UTI, anything like that, they're going to fall again. And if you break a hip or arm or shoulders, your chance of healing is very slim. And so you have to be healthy enough to age.
Yes.
I tell folks, if you're going to have surgery, work out, gain 10 pounds because you're going to lose 20, but you got to gain more muscle. And so you can heal.
Right.
So most people that heal well because they are in shape. And so our second thing is solution for aging, helping seniors with emergency situations so that they can stay in their homes. It's nothing like having a gas and electric bill, $1,500. And all of the programs now are drying up. They are gone. The monies are gone.
The monies are gone.
So you got to be able to call the gas and electric company and ask for a payment plan. You got to call the community action agencies and ask for some help.
But
money. You got to know how to navigate through those systems. So that's one of the things we do. And the other thing is caregiving. You know, I ask, who are you? So if I got Alzheimer's, you don't know me.
Right.
And I definitely don't know you.
Right.
And so therefore, we got to be very careful that we help caregivers understand that it's not a crisis. Right now, you got to just train yourself to be better prepared when you go see mom and dad.
Right.
And they don't recognize you. Don't be hurt by that. You're going to be sad. You're going to cry. But just keep coming.
Right.
Keep giving them the care. Keep loving on them. And they may not allow it. They may not allow it. But you know what? I got a trick that I do.
What do you do?
I take balloons. I always take balloons. Who don't like balloons? So you go in with all these balloons. You say, happy birthday. And it throws them off. They know it's not their birthday. But you can say, but you're alive today. And so the balloons is just a distraction to keep the conversation going while you're hitting it. And then you got them exercising, kicking the ball, kicking the balloon. their mind is focused on that.
Ooh-wee.
And so you want to
That's
be able
good.
to calm their spirit.
Oh.
Because even though I have Alzheimer's disease, they still researching how much you remember, how much you know. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what a balloon is.
Yes.
Everybody.
They do.
I don't care what
They
age you
do.
are.
They
It
do.
doesn't matter. And so we got to figure out how to be intentional about helping as I age. Don't patronize me. Give me what I need. Mm-hmm. So the other thing too, when it's time to take my keys, if I'm driving,
Right. Oh my God.
there's a
War.
trick to that too.
Okay.
You have to unplug the batteries, right? So
And the car
won't
doesn't start.
And you got to make sure.
That's brilliant.
But you got to make sure that they don't know you did that.
They do, yeah. You can't tell them I unplugged the battery.
No.
They're gonna be,
And you got to get in the car as if you're going for a ride too. You got to say, I'm so excited. You know where we're going? And they may not know, but you got to say, I tell you what, with the phones now, you can do GPS and you can let them hear how to turn left and right. Pretty soon, it's already in the cars now. And whoever got that patent, hands off.
Hands
to you.
on, yeah.
But if I'm lost, and you always see elder alerts all the
time
they got the
now.
cars, they got So these old folks, we need to put GPS on their cars, because I'm gonna take that bracelet and necklace off. But if you got it on my car, when I'm moving, at least you'll know where I'm at.
Right.
You gotta find folks. They're still looking for the one person that was up in Lorain, Ohio. He walked away. Unfortunately, if you look at the statistics, when they walk away, chances are they're not gonna make it back home. And so we got to figure this out. And I love the Alzheimer's Association, how they have created all these different devices.
Yes.
But we got to get a little bit more creative. So we got to get into the research lab and we got to talk about what's needed.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that I can get into that digital arena and talk a little bit about creating these devices so that folks can be safe. I just became the legal guardian of a man, and unfortunately he was just leaving. So now there's a device, as he get closer to the elevator, it beeps and it scares the crap out of him. And guess what he does? He goes back to his room. Because before he was leaving and they couldn't find him for hours at a time.
Okay.
And so it's about being safe right now. Mm-hmm. And we got to figure that out. So the other thing we're doing is healthy eating, age well. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, but I do know there are certain foods that we got to eat in order to maintain some energy.
Yes.
And so as you get older, you don't have that same type of appetite. You just don't. Mm-hmm. So we got to get a little creative in how we prepare our foods. And we got to be intentional about helping them to eat and age well. Mm-hmm. Because when you're aging well, you will eat well.
Right.
And you got to think in terms of how do you keep up your energy. So when I go into certain facilities and I look at our elders and I'll say, what you have today? Oh, I just had a bowl of cereal. Okay, did you eat a piece of fruit with that?
Yeah.
And so if I can't afford it, I'm not gonna have it.
Right.
And so we were fortunate enough to get a grant from United Way. It's a grant that, reimbursable grant, but at least we can buy produce. So today we'll buy another 100 bags of produce. Yesterday we bought 60. So our goal is to buy at least 2 to 250 bags of produce a week. So that's at least 200 different people we're gonna touch every week with bags of produce.
Let me just say this to my audience that's watching. SOAC was a part of the African American Senior Veterans Day that I hosted on Veterans Day, and they provided 100 bags of food
100 bags.
For the veterans.
Fresh produce.
Fresh produce, and that was truly the highlight of an extraordinary day. But when I saw that, and I saw the people and how happy, because food is basic.
It's basic.
It's a basic need. Yes. People have to eat, and I just thought that just moved me so profoundly, Sandra, to see those people lining up to get their food.
And think about this. Fresh produce don't last.
It does
not. So you
not.
gotta cook it.
Yes.
And so what better way to give a person a fresh cabbage with some onions, potatoes, and bell peppers, and they gotta know they gotta cook it within 2 days.
Yes.
3 days.
Yeah, or it's over.
Bad.
Yes.
And so you don't give them that much. You give them a cup of this, a cup of that, a cup of this. Because if you're ailing already, I'm not going to stand up there and cook a full course meal.
Oh, no.
At 75 and 80 and 90, I'm definitely not going to get up there and cook a full course meal. I mean, as my dad aged, I watched him take his little walker. He'll go into the kitchen And he's like, I can't stay in this kitchen and cook. I was like, no, you can't. So guess what? Cooking with a crock pot. And so our goal is to purchase at least 200 crock pots.
Oh,
and so that we can give them away. We just gotta give them away.
Yes.
But it also helped the senior understand that you can still make a healthy meal.
Oh, the crock
and be
pot is
okay.
wonderful.
Cook itself.
It cooks itself.
Yes. You just got to make sure you turn it off. It can't cook all night. All day.
Yeah, well, I was going to say my crock pot after 28 years, it died.
Yeah, they did
die. The pot cracked.
Yeah.
And I think my daughter said, don't you think you got your money's worth out of that? And I told her, well, all these fancy buttons out here today, I just turned it on and it cooked. But that would be great.
We got to do things intentional. If you want to help me age well, you got to put some things in place so I can age well. So as an advocate, and that's what we are. We're a professional advocacy organization. We talk about aging. We do aging.
Right,
we are aging.
You are aging.
I'm aging. You know? So my conversation becomes real. You know. So the last thing that we're going to focus on is called our Nursing Home Ambassador Initiative.
I am so excited about that.
I'm telling you, that's going to be
I
a
am
game
so
changer
excited about this.
It's not right to have someone in a nursing home and you can't care for them. And I'm paying you millions of Medicare dollars.
Yeah, Medicaid dollars.
And unfortunately, when you are put inside a facility, you got to have some things in place, like family, friends, a system.
Yes.
So through this ambassador initiative, we're going to have people trained to go in and be volunteers to help aid the seniors. I'm not saying go in there and bathe them and do personal stuff, but to sit with them to make sure that they're cared for. It may be you become their legal guardian.
That could happen.
You become their surrogate volunteer. Most people in a nursing home need a voice. And so through this ambassador initiative, it's going to allow us to not only help the nursing homes with their ratings and decrease the complaints that they get, but it's also going to give the staff a morale that they had never had before.
Right.
So if we can give them some incentives, gas cards, Kroger cards.
Yes.
I had a lady working in a nursing home. She told me she was living in her car. That broke my heart. I'm like, so you got to go somewhere every day, get freshened up to come inside a nursing home and care for other people. Housing stock in our country has gone up through the roof. Rent is so high.
Oh, it's so high.
And that's why she can't find a place. So my prayer goes out to her every day.
Oh my God, and she's living in
She lives in her car.
But you know what, Sandra? A lot of people
are homeless.
Are living in cars. You can tell because they park where all the hotels are for safety. And to see a family and the thought of an old person in a car is just too much. My heart, that's just too much, Sandra.
And so think about the conversation we need to have with our state, city, federal governments. We need to talk about affordable housing, but we also need to talk about helping folks prepare to grow old. So if you're 60, 70, 80 years old, you need to create an aging plan. What does that look like? You need to designate folks to take care of your business.
Right.
You need to put family members on the deed of your house. You need to take folks and put them on your banking account.
Yes.
Your doctor needs to know your son and your daughter. Your doctor needs to know your medicines that you're taking if you're not interacting with the other meds. And that's where the pharmaceutical and that's where the pharmacist from Walgreens or wherever comes in to help you understand what you're taking. And then the side effects, you need to know what to look for.
Right.
You ask the average senior to name their medications, and we did this once. Every time you give me a name, I gave you $25. And I can tell you very few made that money. They can tell you what they gave, what they were taking the medicine for,
but
they
not the
couldn't
name
pronounce it.
of the medication.
They couldn't pronounce it.
Oh.
I mean, I have to study my meds.
Yeah.
So, and I have to bring a med sheet with me. And so I could just imagine if my eyes are bad and I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to be able to run that off to you. And so we need to make sure that we're okay with that. And so say if you call in the paramedics, they need to know what medicine you're taking. And so I remember the Red Cross used to have this valve that folks put their medicine and they put this and put the tube in the refrigerator.
Yes.
We need to get a hold of some of those.
You put the name, your information in the freezer.
And we need to make sure that people understand what you want. My family know my wishes. They know what I want. They know I want to be cremated. They know I want my ashes spread all over the ocean. They know that. They know I want red roses. They know that, you know. But they also know that I want my legacy to live on. So through this organization, I want them to continue to be able to not only help other seniors, but help aging folks that may not ask for help.
Right.
And so sometimes we got to go out of our way. And I can remember I had it really bad. I mean, I was stopping folks. Hi, you need a ride? No, who are you? And I'll have my card out. I'm like, I'm Sandra. I promise I won't hurt you. But you know, and so I'll be in the grocery store. I'll be like, do you need anything? No, baby, I don't need anything. I said, could I help you pay for your groceries? Well, why do you want to do that?
Yeah.
I'm like, because I can. And I want to help you. You know, and so we need to go back to being kind and nice to people. And a lot of people are very hesitant when you want to do something for them.
Because they wonder what your motive
What are your
is.
motives?
What do you, that generation
Yes.
came out of such a culture, World War II, World War I, black, poor, lack of education, and people took advantage.
Yes.
I remember distinctly some incidents that kind of sit in my mind where they had white salesmen selling refrigerators, freezers that were stocked with meat. And you signed a contract and you wind up paying 6 and 7 times the value of that item that you purchased in that no good meat. And this happened in our communities often.
Yes, it did.
Often. And so it left you feeling nervous and distrustful. It did.
And I understand that.
Yeah,
and I think we
do
can
too.
relate to that.
Yeah, I can. I was going to also say my mother, who is in a facility with Alzheimer, I visit and I befriended, I know everybody in her.
That's right.
I know everybody. And so when I come, I always come bringing brownies. And I know, they're like, really, they're not supposed to eat brownies. I said, right. I bring brownies. Every Sunday I bring brownies or something that is a no-no. I bring it, and they all wait.
Yeah.
They're all there, Sandra. When I click that door, they know my feet step. And it has given me such joy. It's not just her, it's a community.
It's a community.
It's a community. And Sunday was a shock because one of the gentlemen there that joins us all the time, a black man, turns out he's the same age as me with Alzheimer. And he said, I told him, I just had my birthday. I told him my age, and he looked at me, he said, that's my age. And I had to kind of like, Sandra, what?
It's a reality.
I had to look, I really just looked down and looked back up and changed the subject.
That's right.
Because I said, oh my words, he is in here until he leaves Earth.
Yeah.
And just unbelievable.
One thing about the mind, and I'm not a neurologist or anything like that.
I know, me neither.
But I do know if you don't use it, you can lose it.
And
so
totally
that's the
believe
same
it.
way with your physical being and your spiritual. So when you hear folks with early stage of any sort of dementia, you know, it's genetic. We know that, and we also know that it can be treated with medication, but you have to recognize that it's happening. I remember a good friend of mine, he said that he didn't recognize that his wife was really struggling. And his kids came home for Christmas and they said, why is mom repeating herself? He's like, well, she always doing that. He said, Dad, something else is going on. And they caught it. But the husband
but he did
didn't
not,
recognize
because
it.
he's there.
He's there every day. And so she ended up dying a couple years later, but he felt so guilty that he did not recognize it. But we have a tendency to hide different things. I'm not going to let you know that I fail. I'm not going to let you know that my medicine is not working like it should. I'm not going to let you know that I have any other things ailing me. I'm not going to. We are some prideful people. In the meantime, we suffer in silence. And I think a lot of times.
Do you think it's from the shame of...
I think it's from shame. I think it's from fear. I think fear is the biggest.
Okay.
Fear will paralyze you.
It will
bring out the worst in you because you think you're under attack. And so when you get up in age, you don't trust the system. you don't understand why your body won't allow you to go to the kitchen like you used to.
Right.
Because now it takes me a half an hour, and it used to take me 5 minutes.
Right.
I mean, so we got to be
Sandra,
prepared.
you're talking about me.
Well, I just know that.
You're talking about
just
me.
looking at
Okay.
life, as I age, and and as I prepare my nieces and nephews, and I got a whole bunch of nieces and nephews. I got a 3-year-old, I got a 1-year-old, I got a couple months old. I mean, my family, they having babies, and I know my parents would be very proud that from 6 kids, they now have almost 30 some of my grandkids. But they all know about taking care of other people. And so we've taught them that at a very young age, how to pack bags, how to pack the produce, how to pack PPEs. When we were packing PPEs, it was just so crazy. Gloves, masks, hand sanitizer. We were just really getting ready. And so making those packages, we have not stopped. We still give out those things, but we have the kids to do them. And so, and we don't say the elderly people, we say our friends.
Yes.
And so as long as they know they're friends, then they can appreciate helping. But when you make and put labels on people,
Yes.
which we do in this country really bad,
Really bad.
then I'm not going to help you because I don't see you as
I
a
don't-
person.
Right.
Same way when I worked with folks with developmental disability, we say their name and then they have a disability. You don't say disability first.
Yeah.
And so same way with the elderly. Don't say I have Alzheimer's first. Say I'm struggling, but call me by my name.
Call me by my name.
And I think a lot of times we forget that, that I wasn't born old.
Right.
And one time I had dreams.
Right.
I was able to work.
Right.
I did some real cool stuff. I love talking to our seniors because they did some real cool
They
stuff.
did. And truthfully, when I look at it today, we're in a state of emergency.
It's a crisis.
This is a crisis.
It's a crisis.
And I will tell our viewing audience, you better look at yourself in the mirror.
Yes. And just get ready.
And you need to begin to lay the steps to prepare and keep yourself, get your physical exams every year, get your annual physical, check your eyes, check your hearing. Particularly if you're on Medicare, they're going to pay for your hearing and vision if you're on Part C. It's all paid for. It's included in your package.
Yes.
Take advantage of it. Okay, there's no excuse. Some things may be environmental. Some things may be genetic. Cataracts are real.
Yes.
Part of aging. Your eyes get tired. Okay, you've been around a long time. Your hearing begins to deteriorate. But we now have options.
Yes.
We're not there, but we're getting better. But if our seniors refuse, and a lot of them, I want you to talk about that.
Yeah.
A lot of them can't hear,
They can't hear.
and they will not acknowledge
No.
they can't hear.
And so you think about that. Husband and wife. I'm talking to you and I'm yelling and you don't hear me.
Nothing.
And so, but I'm also in denial myself.
Okay.
And what I hear, especially from my men as they age,
Especially.
they're a little bit more stubborn, but they also are a little bit more reluctant for help because they were the helper. They were the doers. They were the ones that went out every day and worked and took care of the family. And so now you're telling me I can't do that anymore? That takes away from me
him
as a man. And so we got to make sure that we're very careful that we do not take that dignity away from anybody.
Right.
I don't care who you are. Acknowledge me. I may not be able to hear you, but don't ignore me. And then we got to make sure that the adult children and the nieces and the uncles and all those folks they gave $10 to
Yes.
at the table.
Yes.
And so this other project that I work on and I do with families, I said, I want you to put 31 days in a cup, 1 to 30. Put these numbers in a cup and act like it's the best thing since sliced bread. All your family and friends, I want you to have a party. And you give everybody a number. And they take that number and at the end you tell them what it's for. And what it's for is, if you pick the first of the month, the first of each month, you have to take care of my mom and dad. You to come to visit, you to call them. All I need is 2 hours of your time, just the first of the month. Whoever got number 13, the 13th day of the month, it's your turn. I need you to help me with mom and dad. I need you to come and visit them. You may even need to cook a meal. You may need to take them to the store that day. But I need you to do something. See, what we don't do, we don't ask for help. And so we don't allow folks in our homes to take care of us. I got folks right now today, you can't come in my house. I'm like, okay, meet me outside.
Right.
And sometimes because
Why don't they want you in the house?
It's cluttered.
Oh, okay.
So much stuff in there. They don't know if they coming or going.
I believe it.
They got so much stuff. I mean, they
Memories.
And so what I say to them, we're gonna pack it up, but you don't take it away. You pack it up.
Okay.
You put it in a container and you help them label it.
Okay.
And you do different colors. You put rainbows on it. You put all this
Oh
cool
my
stuff
God,
on it.
that's so
Because
great.
you can't move my stuff. So I do a program called "Don't Move My Stuff."
Don't move my
Don't move my
stuff.
stuff. It's mine.
Right.
So therefore, I need you to help me organize it, and that's it. Help me get some containers. Help me put it in the box. Help me stack it up. I might have 5 stacks of containers, but they out of the way.
Right.
And I can move around, and I won't fall. Because if you fall,
Oh God.
and we talked about that, it could be detrimental.
Oh my God.
But if you help me prepare my home to age in place, then I'm okay with that. Because you've already given me a title, age in place.
Yes.
Then I'm gonna give you a list of things we need to do after I do my walk around. And then there may be some things that you may not agree with. But it's okay, because at the beginning, I'm gonna get your approval. Because you recognize that things are not right.
This is interesting. As I was coming up to the station this morning, NPR interviewed a gentleman who said that clutter is okay. He's kind of upended the whole conversation about homes looking like hotels with minimals. And he talked about seniors and about his mother who likes things, you know, birds and little things. And he said, I told her, you need to declutter. So she started mailing her things to him. And he said, so now he's got all these birds and stuff. And he said, he started talking about why they can't let go. Because each one of these represents
A time period of my
a
life.
time period in their life. And now you're trying to take it away. So I love the suggestion about putting these things in boxes and labeling them. Folks, don't donate them to the thrift stores. They don't want them.
And they sell them.
They don't want them, and they sell them. But I thought that was very interesting that he talked about cluttering and senior. Didn't talk about hoarding. He talked about clutter, which is all this stuff.
But it's things that I've accumulated over my lifetime. And there's things that matters to me. I mean, I still have an uncle. I have his table. I have his dresser. And my uncle's probably been dead almost, probably 25 years.
Okay.
And I can remember when we went to his house and nobody wanted his stuff. I was like, that dresser is nice. I still have that dresser. And I have that table. I use this, my printer is on that table. But when my parents passed away, we all decided what we was gonna take. And which was so cool because it's 6 of us.
Yes.
So we didn't have to fight over nothing. And so what we took is all the stuff we bought. So I bought my mom this vase. That's what I took. I took back the vase.
Okay.
So I have rugs right now on my floor, and my sister's like, I bought those rugs. I'm like, you can have them back. You know?
You take them.
You know,
Yeah.
I've had them now. My mom been dead 20 years. I'm like, I've had them for 20 years. But I said, they've been to the dry cleaners 5 times. But we didn't have to have no problems. And that's what you want. You don't want no problems.
Thank you.
You want to be at peace.
Peace
I don't
of
want my kids
mind.
arguing over me.
Right.
Gotta
right.
have peace.
Peace of mind.
I mean, you can't even buy it.
Right.
But I know that I'm getting old, and I know that I am, slipping a little bit. Just remind me.
Right.
Don't keep putting so much emphasis on, I told you this, I told you that, because I don't remember a word you said.
Right.
Just remind me, and
Right.
then just do it.
Right.
But if you come in there with a great spirit, and sometimes it's hard,
Oh my God.
you have to train yourself to have a great spirit and a great mind, but then you got to let the Holy Ghost Spirit take over.
Oh yes.
Because doing this business, I can tell you there's days when I am extremely sad on the condition that I see our seniors in. And I'm sad that I can't help them all.
Right.
And I had to come to grips with that. And I had
How
to
did
come,
you do that?
I said, what's important? So what's important to me is that I help you to the best of my ability. And then I'm going to give you a charge. to help yourself to the best of your ability.
Right.
So I put it back on them. And then they'll say, I can't do it. Then I'll say, let's find those resources in the community that can help.
That can help you.
Our seniors do not know how to navigate that internet, those systems.
Yeah.
And so we are that next age of seniors. Those of us that are under 75 years of age, we've had some exposure to technology.
Right.
75 and up, they are in denial. You got some folks 50 that will not have a cell phone. I know 40-year-olds that don't have cell phones. I know 20-year-olds that don't have cell phones.
Scary.
But you have to want it.
Yeah.
And so I have to remind you that you're getting old. And that's the frightening piece. But you know, the cool thing about it, you do it out of love. You know, I never forget Mr. Arnett Lyons. I loved him so much. I was 23 and he was 97. And when I met him, he just was just the apple of my eye. I loved him so much. You would have thought he was my papa for real. I would go get him. I would take him to jazz place. We would go out to dinner. We had so much fun. I have a very nice picture of him. And I can remember him saying, you're going to have to get a life, young lady. You're only 20-something years old. You're going to need a husband. You're going to have some more kids. And I said, no, I'm going to be okay. I'm just going to hang out with you for a little while. He said, yeah, but I'm old. And I said, yeah, you are old. But Mr. Arnett Lyons, he was named after the Arnett Hall up at Wilberforce University that now sits the African American History Museum. So when he told me that his father and Mr. Wilberforce were friends and how he got his name, I said, I got to take you up to Wilberforce. And we never made that trip, but I made that trip without him.
Oh, wow.
And I was looking for Arnett Hall. I'm walking around the campus. I go into the museum, and there was an elderly woman there, and she said, you're standing where it used to be. This used to be the Arnett housing. And I cried like a baby.
Oh, wow.
Because at 97, he remembered that story, but he didn't know that they had changed that to a museum.
Right.
But he knew it was up at Wilberforce University because his father, and if he was 97,
yes,
his father would have had to been dead almost at least 60 years.
Yes, but he was fully
He had
cognizant.
so many stories. I have so many stories that's writing in my book. And I'm going to finish that book.
I hope
that book is going
Sandra,
to
please,
be
I
powerful.
hope you do.
Trust me, it is going to get finished. That is one of my primary goals for me to do that because those stories they resonate with me. So that same person, he was walking down Reading Road at 3 o'clock in the morning. And unfortunately, I didn't understand what dementia was at 23, and I didn't know. I didn't recognize it. I mean, he would repeat himself, but that didn't bother me. I didn't know he was slipping like that. And he's walking down the Reading Road going to church because he went to Southern Baptist Church. He was a deacon there for 60-something years.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's where he was going at 3 o'clock in the morning. And unfortunately, they ended up taking him to University Hospital on the psych ward. And, and from there, he went to the nursing home. But I followed him, and I had to lie when I to the police and say, well, what did you take him? I said, that's my grandfather. And they was like, well, he's over at university. I get to university, they was like, he's not here. I was like, well, what you doing with my grandfather? Because at that time, HIPAA was not being enforced like it is now.
Right.
So it's like, oh, we took him over to the nursing home. I went over to the nursing home, and he said, baby, how did I get here? Because he knew who I was. I said, and I told him the story. I said, something's going on. I said, you losing your memory a little bit. He said, is that why my head hurts? He said, it hurts to talk. It hurts to think.
Oh, wow.
And he died 2 months later. And
oh, my God.
And he was a World War II vet. And he was just a nice man. I'll never forget him. It's so many of them that I would never, ever forget. Mr. George Wilson was one of the first African Americans that drove the yellow taxi cab. Well, I met him when I was probably about 23, 24. I worked at the nursing home. And I said, you kidding me? There's no way. He had a picture of himself. Now, he was almost 98 when I met him.
Okay.
I said, yellow cabs haven't been around that long. And he showed me that picture. He was like, I was 14 driving a cab. I said, he was 14.
Whoa.
So at them times, you can lie about your age.
Right.
You can change your name.
Right.
You can change your Social Security card.
Right.
And when folks moved up here to escape the segregation in the South, they did that when they came to Cincinnati. They changed their names. They changed their birth certificate. And I was so fascinated with that. I'm like, how do you just change
your birth certificate?
How do you do that?
This stuff is making me tear
So
up.
that's why SOAC exists. Serving older adults through changing times, because times are changing. And so I'm going to be in the midst of all of that, because as I age, and times are going to continue to change.
Yes.
I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of the conversation that you're having with the elders.
Yes.
I want to be at the table when you talk about innovating systems that would allow our seniors to age in place.
Right.
Because we're not prepared to grow old. And I talk to seniors every day of my life. Every day.
They're such a large part of our community.
And it's a large part of who I am. It's
Yeah.
a part of my character. It's part of my DNA. And I'm so glad that my husband understands that. And him being a nurse for hospice. So,
my goodness. So he's there. Yeah.
So he's at the bedside as they're making that transition to death. And so he talked about a 92-year-old that passed away. Today is, so it must have been Friday night. And he talked about how many family members was around, grandkids,
Oh my gosh.
And he said, Papa passed away with a smile on his face.
Oh,
And he doesn't see that much, but he was so happy to
be surrounded by his legacy.
Even the little babies.
Oh,
Papa,
yeah.
Papa, we love you. We love you. And so
that's
he had a smile on his face at 92. He had did so much for other people.
Yes.
His family. And that's the other piece. We need to decide how well we want to treat others. I can always tell those folks that have good people around them.
Yes.
When they die, I look around and say, okay.
Ooh, wow.
And if the funeral home is empty,
Then you say, oh, well.
yeah. Because one thing about growing old, there's some things that we did to some folks back there that have never forgiven us.
Yeah.
So forgiveness, it is magical. And I can remember having a lady, I was her legal guardian, and the nursing home would call and say she was bringing in liquor, and she was sticking in gin. It was so funny. I would go there, she would be just high as a kite. I was like, you can't drink that to take your medicine. She was like, who made you my guardian anyway? You don't have no gin, no ma'am. But I loved her so much, and I reached out to her son, and her son, he said, I need to let you know, my mom gave me away when I was 10. And she never came back. My grandmother raised me, so I don't know her. I don't have a relationship with her. I said, I understand that. I said, but as her legal guardian, I need to know what you want me to do for her final wishes. Because when she dies, I have nothing else to say. I can't advocate for her no more. She belongs to the state, and they would take her over to Spring Row, and she'll be in the masquerade with a bunch of other folks she don't know. I said, so what do you want me to do? And he said, I have to think about it.
Oh,
but I can tell you, he thought about it for 2 days, and he brought his kids up to meet their grandma. They thought, because he told them she was dead.
Oh, my words.
So he had to go back and tell his kids his story. He never told them that she left.
Oh, wow.
So that was hard for him, and I just loved on him. And she said, "Please forgive me," and he did.
Ooh-wee.
So in the meantime,
that's
covered with stuff.
Oh,
he cleaned up her room. He bought her a new bedspread. He put some nice, pretty curtains up, and she died 2 weeks later.
oh my goodness.
But guess what? That guy feels good today.
Yes.
And when I see him, he said, "Thank you for reaching out to me."
But that is such a powerful thing, which is in the whole arena of aging.
Aging in place.
In place is the issue of the forgiveness.
You have to forgive.
Because viewers, a lot of you all were stinkers. Oh, you know. Stinkers. Stink. Women did stuff, men did stuff. You did it in front of your children. You abandoned children. You had children by different men, married men, all kinds of stuff. When you get old, it's there as a memory. And the issue is, and from where I stand, is you're going to have to forgive.
Yes.
And then you're going to have to set the record straight with kids.
Yes.
That you have not been right with. It's not about pride when you get old.
No. You need help.
You need help. And the only way you're going to get help is to as the Bible, repent, change your mind, change your thinking, so that you can get things laid out for the future. Your family does not have to be up under your curse.
Yes.
They can get free. They can get free, and you have to be willing to do it. I mean, and I know it's hard.
It's hard.
I know because you know. I mean, I can't get into family stuff and my stuff, but I had a great uncle who was off the chain, period. And just off the chain. And I don't know if he ever got that right, but my hope and my desire, he was always trying to overdo in his old age to make sure people got this and that, because he was such a mess in his younger age. Life is not fair.
It's not.
Life is not balanced. Life is life.
And it's hard.
And it's hard.
It's
hard.
It's hard if you don't understand who you are.
And it's all about that.
It's about knowing who you are.
I just got a notice from my producer.
Okay.
We got to wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
I need you to give our viewers a telephone number.
Yes.
If they'd like to be involved. I'm going to help you with that nursing home. I told you. No, that's where I'm coming from.
So, you know my name, Sandra Jones Mitchell, with serving older adults through changing times, and our website is www.blackage.org, blackage.org. And our number is area code 513-861-2790.
Say it again.
513-861-2790. Call us if you need something. Call us if you need to talk. Call us if you need to plan for old age. Call us if you're making that transition yourself.
Yeah.
Call us if you're an adult child caring for an aging parents and you just don't know what to do, how to do it. I visit folks I don't even know. I've gone to funerals of people I don't even know just to support their adult children because of the ills that have taken place.
Yeah.
And the hurt. When you have had trauma all your life and you trying to raise kids, guess what? They have inherited your trauma.
Yes.
And so we need to do a better job in educating ourselves, our families, on what it is that you want when you grow old. So growing old is fun. Make it exciting. Have fun.
That's it.
I love it. My word for this year is happiness. And I want to spread that on to folks that I know. I want to spread it within myself, no matter what. And trust me, the devil was busy this morning. He was saying, you can't do it. You're going to be late. Traffic's going to be bad. You're not going to make it in time. And I said, I'm going to just take my time.
Yes.
And I drove up here. In fact, I got up here 15 minutes early. But one of the things about your mind, you have to train it to be nice. Train it to be
yes.
Train it to be needed. And so thank God for you.
I thank you, Sandra Jones Mitchell. I hope all of you all have enjoyed this interview. It has been a joy for me. I love this woman.
Yes,
I love her spirit. I love what she does. She's a bold, wonderful advocate for our people, the seniors. And all you got to do, like I tell folks, just keep living.
Yes.
Don't die. Just keep living, and you'll get there too. And when you get there, you want to make sure that you have a love relationship with the people that are in your life. You do. So thank you so much for being a part of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves. And as always, you have an incredibly awesome, rich day, rich experience in 2023. And hopefully you will tune in and check Sandra and tell other people. It comes on YouTube. You can watch this show on YouTube as well as the markets we're in. We're in many markets, but you can also see this interview on youtube.com under The Power of Money with Michelle Graves and Sandra Mitchell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.